So we're back.
We're back.
The Sketch and Sheet Show.
Sketch and Sheet.
We're getting better at this radio thing.
Tongue twister.
We're getting better. Yeah, Sketch and Sheet is a fucking...
Sketch and Sheet. Yeah, just turn it down to a bunch of lines. And so, yeah, it's been a nice day. It's kind of foggy, kind of rainy.
Oh, it's a nice rainy day in New York City, which is kind of nice.
Yes.
The Sketch and Sheet Show, Ep002, Volume 1.
Coming at you from New York City.
Yeah, we're in Greenpoint, New York today, coming out of my office. And so I had a question on Facebook. Somebody was posting about whether or not they should pick up a mentor. They were asking for advice. They were asking for advice about whether or not
somebody to advise them on their career.
Yeah. I think everybody like apprentice style. I think.
You must be a servant.
Yeah, I think
Padawan learner.
More like a Padawan learner. Yeah, like you hang out with them.
Yeah.
The idea, I guess, is that you would hang out with somebody that does the business you want to do.
Trademark Disney, just in case.
You would then learn from them as on the job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so they were asking about it, and I told them, I think you don't. I don't know how easy it is to go out there and find a mentor.
So you're saying no mentor?
Well, I'm saying if you have one,
don't listen to anybody, or don't go finding somebody to listen to.
I don't think you should go finding anybody to listen to. I feel like finding people to listen to is not a good, it's just a bad process. I feel like that's why you take on the hard jobs and the interesting jobs, because while you're working on those jobs, you're hoping to run into somebody that you can learn from. Colleagues, art directors, people above you, below you, it doesn't matter. You learn from these people you work with. And I feel like that's beautiful, right? And if through that work relationship you find somebody that you end up working with a lot who kind of likes you and maybe takes you under their wing and runs you through stuff,
very naturally grown,
I find that that's a beautiful thing. And if you have that, you should take advantage of it. It's really important to take advantage of that kind of stuff, because technique, I think you can learn anywhere. It's 2019. Technique you can find everywhere. And I mean, you can it's 2019. You can watch YouTube videos of some of the greatest.
Any platform that can show a picture, you just Google and you find somebody doing something mouth-watering.
Well, not even that.
You
can go on YouTube and you could watch great people do great work. You could watch Jim Lee draw, or whoever that's just who came to mind. But you could watch these people work. You could learn from them directly almost. But the guidance, I think, is what people are looking for. You know what I mean? And I feel like to give somebody that kind of place in your, life, you need to know that person is buying into you.
That's a vulnerable spot.
Because you need somebody that's going to listen to what you need and what you want, what you think your career, what do you want out of your career, and then help you get there. Not somebody that's going to just shove their career down your throat or use you to benefit their career, or any other landmine you could end up stepping on.
Which
since
we're talking about work and all, which in corporate places settings, not to judge or whatever, but that does exist in abundance. It's all that kind of political place people make to get ahead in the bigger ladder of corporates.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. There's tons of companies that have gotten in trouble for running intern programs that were illegal. I believe NBC got sued a couple years ago over that and lost because New York City and a lot of places actually have rules as far as what constitutes an intern. And one of the big rules is it can't take the place of a real job.
Yeah.
If you having an intern means you have one less employee, that's an illegal intern. You're not supposed to have that. Interns are supposed to be around to help out and, be gophers and learn.
Do clipping mask, cut this out, cut that
exactly.
out, make
stuff
find this
like basic stuff like that, and to learn the business. I mean, I think that's more what you would want is to learn the business. As much as you can for firsthand. I mean, I kind of did an internship mine was 2 weeks long, and it was at Curious with Corey, who was my teacher and then ended up being a really good friend of mine. And he brought me in to work on a love project at Curious. So a project that they were just doing for the hell of it. It was actually hilarious. It was this little skit that they had mocapped out called Eggs. It was like an improv comedy skit that I was making assets for. I built the set for.
Yeah.
I did a bunch of stuff. But that's like a perfect example. It's not that wasn't even a billable project. They were doing that in house, and it got me in the building for a couple of weeks. It got me on their system. It got me to meet some people, and after those 2 weeks, that's actually
internship is.
Yeah, that's actually how I got
in all the levels, so you can make a informed decision of what you want to do with your career.
Well, I mean, mine didn't even give me that. Honestly, mine just got me in the building, which then got me a job for making cleaning up mocap data because that's what they did at Curious, and I was there, and they gave me I asked, and they gave me a job for it. They hired me to do that just because I was close. You know what I mean?
My intern experience was I had a opportunity to go to Ogilvy as an intern.
Uh-huh.
And instead I went to a smaller company. I went to like a mom and pop kind of like advertising called All In Advertising.
Is there a reason you did that? Like,
yeah.
why would you pick that?
I felt like I don't want to fall into a system that puts you in a system of like that you don't really get to learn anything, or you just go through the emotions of everybody going through the same experience.
Yeah.
I wanted to have like much more hands-on experience, so I looked for somewhere that would internship, but in a kind of like a sort of way they kind of like a job. So they it was a paid internship.
Uh-huh.
These guys paid me, and I did photography. I shot their products, and I learned how to shoot. I learned how to cut things out. I learned how to lay stuff out professionally, and all that stuff I did actually got printed.
So you went to Ogilvy and they told you like
No,
but what I'm saying is you knew that you wouldn't be able to do those things at Ogilvy?
From what my buddies had told me, from the words of people who had gone through this system,
that had already done that internship, yeah.
That it's just shits and giggles for most of it, and you're just gophering stuff, and you're never going to be in the room, or you're never going to get any kind of experience that you need.
That's the messed up thing, because you should be. That's what you're supposed to do, is be in the room.
One of the things about my school of visual arts, was like the teacher would bring real world kind of examples of projects and give it to us. It's like, I did this last week for a client, and he changed it in a lot of different ways and told us to like now this is your chance, this is the project, this is the ask, go make it. So I was used to that, you working with stuff that's real, or stuff that exists. So going to R&M Advertising made me work on national campaigns that there was no mistake. There's like, either you throw down the best of your abilities, and of course there's art directors.
And that mom and pop.
Yeah, so it was like 4 people.
But they were playing with real brands? Like
yeah, they were playing with real brands. They were into fashion, and Jeffrey Bean, and most of these things that are like, I'm not really into that world, but it's more like it was something
old
between
businessman dress clothes.
That, and then there's couture, and there's Trafalgar, and there's like a high class like.
So it was all fashion.
Yeah, all fashion to high fashion.
Fair enough.
So it was a good experience to see fashion also, and plus I worked my ass off.
Was that when you worked with Tommy Hilfiger as well, or?
No, that's years before Tommy Hilfiger.
Oh, okay.
Tommy Hilfiger was more of a freelance, but this was like an internship. So
nice.
I worked on everything, building sets. Like yes, I did go for shit, but for the amount of work I did, go for shit was like 0.1%. And that was given. It was like, all right, I was like, everybody's older than me, and I'm the young kid. Of course, I'm gonna fucking do the run. That's not a big deal. I did 2 seconds fast, upstairs, downstairs. But
I used to volunteer to do the beer runs at Curious, just because it's a good way to go. I'd have to go around and collect $10 or $5 from everybody, because it was live at 5, so it was $5 from everybody.
Nice.
So just doing that means I got to walk into the mocap stage, I got to walk into the animator's room, I got to walk into the creative director's room, and I got to be like, hey, we're going to go get beer, can I get? So everybody knew who I was, and I thought it was a good idea to meet people, So, but your example is right. Like, what matters is your hand. I find that what matters is how much you actually get to do, and like how being in the room is the entire thing.
Going through college, you're told about everything, man. When you come out of college, you don't get to see.
Oh yeah, you don't know anything. Like, you took that internship so that you could have hands-on experience, right? And you thought that was that's what I feel is the most important thing. So I think internships. I mean, if you have a good in somewhere, I don't want to say never take one, but I mean, I really don't think that unless it's the right situation, I don't think you should take one. Yeah. Mentors, again, I think you should find mentors through the process of working. I don't think it should be some guy that sits in an office that you come in and go, here's what I've done this week, and let him judge or give you critique.
Yeah.
I think it's somebody you work with or you shadow, that kind of picks up on it. So in my career, I've been a freelancer my whole career, so I've had fucking 1,001 different jobs, and I've always been like the curious guy. So I'm always the guy trying to be in the room. I'm always trying to be in the room for whatever project it is, and that's how I've learned most of what I could.
Yeah.
Like when I was working,
happening.
I remember when I was working in Previs at launch, the producer came in to get my superior to go to the Coca-Cola. I mean, sorry, it wasn't Coca-Cola. It was Beck's. We were working on a Beck's spot, and Beck's was on the phone, and they came in to get the editor, and I was like, "Yo, Joe, you think I could come in the room? Yo, I won't say anything." And Joe was like, "Yeah, man, just sit in the back." So I got to sit in day one.
Wow.
I got to sit in on a fucking Beck's call. And, I didn't say anything, but I'm sitting there and I'm hearing how the producers are moseying things along. So now,
that's golden, man.
Yeah. So now when I'm in the room and the producer's talking to the editor, I know the perspective that they're coming from, and that all came from me.
The tone of talking to the client.
Yeah, exactly. And that was obviously, first out of school. Beck's. Like, I had never been on a client call,
Beck's, that was all the Beck's, like Jeff Beck's, Glenn Beck, all the Beck's, all
Beck's,
the one
yeah, all the Beck's. No, Beck's the beer, which I was actually a fan of, which was great. But again, it was about trying to get on set. Same thing with when I was at Curious with mocap. Like, if there was a chance to be on the mocap set, I would haul sandbags, I would carry apple boxes, I would move props around, I would do whatever. If it got me on set, to be able to watch Alan and Corey run the system. Now Alan and me are really good friends, but back then, I didn't really know him. If it got me on set, I was doing it. When they needed somebody to put on the spandex for some pickup shot for something in the Love Guru, dude, I put on the black spandex just to stand on the mocap set.
All right. Interns got to be that way. They got to ask a million questions. They got to be excited about everything. Everything should be like it's just Christmas.
See,
ooh, what's this? Ooh, what's that? Let me try this. Let me try that. It's like being in front of a table full of so many different dishes, and they give you a spoon. Spoon the hell out of every single dish.
But I don't even think that that's an intern thing. I think that's a beginning of your career thing.
Yeah.
You should be trying to milk every job for everything in it.
Since intern is the first step out of anything into a professional world, they should have the mentality.
You think you need to take an internship? Like, you think it is the first step? Like, that's what you got to do?
Yeah. Don't all the famous artists have apprentice or do apprentices?
I don't know. I don't think that that's a thing.
I mean, yeah, it's like an innovation thing. It hasn't been.
Because here's the thing. I technically did that 2 weeks, but I didn't really do an internship. And really, I got the job because me and Corey were buddies. Like, that's why. Like, me and Corey were buddies, and then he was like, hey, there's this opportunity. I'll put your stuff in for it.
All right. I feel it's like this. If it's like that, then internship is something that if it fits the situation, fits the opportunity, the moment you're in, and if it's a good fit, you go with it.
Yeah.
It's not something 100% you have not, but if you have it and you just see that it's a good place and you get to get something out of it, go for it.
Yeah. Because, I mean, right now, Martin Scorsese could be like, hey, Kevin, do you want to intern for me on the next movie? And all I'll do is go get him coffee, and I would sign up for that. Because I would learn from just being near that guy. You know what I mean? But, like, just going around being like, yo, will you mentor me? Like, I know 1,000 people are just waiting to take advantage of young artists coming out of school. You know what I mean? Like, you come out hungry, they take advantage of you, and a lot of times the worst part is they break your spirit. So yeah, I really believe that you kind of learn from everybody that you work with if you give them the opportunity. I mean, any team you're on, you have designers and artists, and everybody's got their own style, even guys that do the same thing you do, as long as you're open to learning from other people, which I think is the biggest thing, because that requires you to not have a giant ego and think that you're the shit. If you're open and you understand that everybody can teach you something, because everybody knows things. Right. You know what I'm saying? So if you're open to that, I feel like that's where real learning comes from. Like, I've learned things that have changed the way I work in After Effects from watching you work in Illustrator.
Right. Yeah. Of course. Like, not having an ego, just seeing that, like, there's different workflows, and how you can take your own workflow and augment it with other people's, like, logic. because we all have a different perspective. These, especially when it comes to like designing and software, there's so many different ways you can do one thing.
That's a really good point, actually. Yeah.
And then you find out that somebody else is doing the same thing in a completely 360 degrees different way. It just opens your mind up to something like, wow, if he's doing it this way, so what if other things I'm doing can be done in a much more productive way? And that catches fire in your head.
And that's an interesting thing when you have like a specific result you're going for and you have a specific way you do it, and then somebody goes, oh yeah, I do that. And here's how you do it with 3 less steps, or here's how you do it more efficiently. You know what? You take that. It's like a buffet. You put that on your plate, man. You don't leave that out there.
That gives me 3 complete extra minutes to work on X, Y, and Z, the other project.
I mean, well, the truth is we're all trying to figure out the same puzzle, right? So why not, just share techniques? I find that if we're artists, everybody should be sharing their stuff as much as possible. Because, I mean, what are you worried about?
You would think that's like that. I guess, I don't know how this would necessarily pertain, but like in a positive artistic environment, that is definitely something that would naturally grow and happen. Because that's what artists naturally do. Remember, both of us were working at a company called Hiccup Media. And it wasn't that just chemistry came out because we're all the same kind of world and speak the same language, and we start sharing naturally.
I think that was a little different because Hiccup Media, we were all friends there.
Yeah.
I think that was all different. I think that was a little different because we were all friends there.
Yeah, of course, that was incentive of all being buddies, but like
buddies, I still hang out with all of you guys. That's there's other jobs I never hang out with those people.
Well, yeah, exactly, and my point is the places where you go and you work and you either don't share because of people not sharing or people. Yeah. The environment being in a world that sharing would probably be detrimental to your political survival, I guess, within that environment.
But I don't even think that that's possible. I feel like that's something people decide on. Like people decide that, if I they have that perspective. Like if I share how I do this, other people will, I don't know, take my job or whatever. I don't know. So childish. But as artists, I feel like you share as much as you can, and that's when because that's a great example. We work together, right, with Kenny and Brian. Yeah. And Eddie and Raul, right? It's a big group of people that all work together. I learned things from every single one of you. I learned editing things from Kenny that Kenny taught me. I learned art direction, After Effects stuff from Brian. You taught me a ton of design stuff. My typography game has got up a lot just from hanging out with you. You know what I mean?
And of course, you're Mr. Maestro. I've learned a tremendous amount of things about design, art, everything.
Yeah. So I really find that your mentors, and I mean, I know it sounds corny, your mentors are actually your colleagues. Those are the people
around you.
Those are the people you're going to learn from. So my advice is instead of looking for a mentor, you should be looking for projects that challenge you as much as possible. Because, steel sharpens steel. You need to put yourself in the fire, in the hard projects, with the people that are interested in doing those kind of projects, that challenge themselves, and everybody grows together. I feel that that's the way.
So don't find a mentor. Mentors are actually people who care about you, and they give a damn about your work, and they naturally exist in your life. You have to look for them. They're there. Whoever really, really gives a damn about your work is going to give you a mentor tip.
I feel like that's what it is. I think the community will take care of you.
Yeah.
Like artists that care about you will share with you, and I feel like that's the biggest thing. You need to be open to learn from other people.
Right. And if you run into people that are not doing that, that doesn't mean that's the creed of every single designer artist. You've probably run into a bad batch, and that there's folks out there for some other reason they just God bless.
There is a lot of hate in the art world, and let's not forget this is a business like any other, and it's as cutthroat as any other.
Yeah.
Let's not kid ourselves because we make pretty cool things that this isn't a multi-billion-dollar industry. That is as cutthroat as any other. So I mean, I think the best thing to do is get as much experience as you can in the things you want to do, and put yourself close to the people that you want to work with. That's what you want to do. You shouldn't be looking for internships. You should be looking for jobs.
Should get opportunities.
Yeah.
Do something big.
Yeah.
Get your career going.
So I guess that's it for today, right?
That was it. Yeah.
Like and subscribe, right? That's a thing we're supposed to say, right? Like and subscribe.
Click on the dingling and let the good times roll. Until next time.